Question I get asked a lot of times from pre-retirees is, am I on track for retirement? Today, I want to help identify 5 different metrics that can help answer that question for you. Thanks for tuning in. If we haven't met before, I'm Planner Mike, a certified financial planner, professional, and owner of True Wealth Financial. I believe that retirement should be prosperous, enjoyable, and purposeful. This show is dedicated to helping Christians retire with confidence and clarity so that they can be freer to serve God and live the life that they truly desire. Last week, I introduced to you the True Wealth Total Retirement System. And in that, I introduced 5 different parts, and it helps address the 5 major questions that retirees, or really pre-retirees, want to know. Can I retire? How do I turn my nest egg into a paycheck? Are my investments suitable for this stage of life? Can I do anything to reduce taxes? Will my spouse be okay if something happens to me? Right? And so the True Wealth Total Retirement System is designed to help address those major questions. But then the next questions that brought about is, well, how do I know if I'm on track with that? Well, today I want to give you some metrics that you can look at to help identify those. So maybe, as you know, in our practice, we use Right Capital. So that framework all starts with a retirement plan. And so we're going to dive into Right Capital here, going back to our use case of Steve and Sarah Starter, and showing you those metrics inside of Right Capital that you can look at to see, hey, how are we doing really going in? And you can monitor those same metrics over time. Think of it as kind of the major dashboard, if you will. So if you think of your dash, you're driving down the road, right? How's the speed doing? How's the gas doing? How's the engine doing? How's the battery doing? How's the tire pressure doing? You can look at all kinds of different things on your dashboard to let you know the condition of your vehicle. You can do the exact same thing in Right Capital. How's the condition of my overall plan? Not just when I start my journey, but as I'm driving it down the retirement road. And so today I want to look at those 5 things. In case you didn't watch last week's episode, I want to take a minute here and revisit the True Wealth Total Retirement System. Help you understand what it is and the 5 major questions it answers. It starts with a comprehensive retirement plan, right? Getting the idea of what you want your retirement life to look like. Then it goes into retirement income. How can I take my nest egg and turn it into an income to replace my paycheck in retirement? Then it looks at investing. Are my investments smart and suitable for this stage of life? Then we explore the idea of reducing taxes. Lastly, it culminates with the idea of making sure your spouse is okay, that you protect and simplify your estate. And the idea is that this is cyclical in nature and it repeats itself over and over and over as you go down your retirement pathway. So now let's identify some major metrics inside of there. And to do that, I want to revisit our case study from some time back of Steve and Sarah Starter. So I'm going to jump into Right Capital. I'll give you a brief synopsis of their scenario, and then we'll dive into those metrics. So here we are in Right Capital. We're looking here at Steve and Sarah Starter. They are currently 60 years old. And from a blueprint perspective, they have a net worth of just over $1 million. Steve has a 401k, a Roth IRA, and a traditional IRA. Sarah has a 403b and a Roth IRA. They have about $40,000 in cash. They own their home and 2 vehicles. In terms of their retirement goals, they're currently 60. Sarah's looking to retire in 3 years at age 63. They're looking to get about $4,000 a month from a income perspective. Steve's going to work for about 2 more years after that, retiring at 65. They have a handful of other goals that they're looking for doing as well. They want to get some new cars, do some giving, things like that. In terms of income, Steve is a project manager making $95,000 a year. Sarah is a teacher making $55,000 a year. Steve plans on actually stopping his project management job at 63 and doing consulting for 2 years. Sarah will get a pension when she stops working of $18,000 a year or $1,500 a month. They both have Social Security. Sarah plans on taking hers at age 65, whereas Steve plans on making his at full retirement age at 67. Sarah is anticipating the idea of getting some inheritance from her parents at some point in the future as well. From a savings perspective, they're pretty healthy savers. They're both putting money into their Roth IRAs and 10% of their income into their employment plans, and they have some additional expenses down here. Now, when it comes to our major metrics that we're looking for, the first one has to do with your overall plan, right? So the overall plan, the metric to consider that is right here, is the probability of success. The probability of success is the idea that we make 1,000 copies of this plan and we change one variable. And the only variable that we change is what the markets do in year 1, 2, 3, 4, and all the way through the plan. And then we run plan 2 through that and we change the sequence of what the market might do in terms of up and down. And we run plan 3, same plan, we only change the variable of markets. And we run 1,000 of those different plans. And this probability of success is how many of those, what percentage of those end up having money at the end of the plan. In this case, about 810 or 81% of those 1,000 plans end up with money at the end of the plan. So that's what we call a probability of success. So anything over 70 generally is good. Right? It's kind of like college, right? C spells degree, same idea here. Everything over 70 is a good metric. So this is the metric that we're looking at in terms of how we're doing on the retirement plan of our total retirement system. So the next metric that we're going to look at is the idea of retirement income, right? So throughout retirement, we need income. And when it comes to retirement income, is the metric inside Right Capital that we're going to look at is our total retirement. So in Right Capital, right under retirement details, third tab down, retirement spending here, this is the total estimated expenses that they're going to need starting when Sarah retires and going through the end of their plan, which in this case goes up to age 9. So they're going to need about $5.5 million. That's how much they plan on spending in their retirement, right? And so this here is the idea of their total need. Now it's inflated amount. It's future dollars. It's not in today's dollars. It's in future dollars here, but we can pivot that into today's dollars if we want to and update that here. That's about $2.8 million, right? $2.8 million. So that's what they need. Now, you might say, okay, I don't have $2.8 million, so I can't retire. Well, that's not true. Again, they have Social Security. They have pensions. Their investments are going to grow. They have other assets that we can use, right? So we have 4 things to look at: human capital, social capital, financial capital, and personal use assets to actually spend, right? So again, retirement income is about creating an income to replace the income that goes away and help you fulfill your goals and your ambitions and your dreams of what you need to do from a needs, wants, and wishes perspective. The next thing we're going to look at is the metric for investments, right? The metrics for investments. So under here, retirement analysis savings, when you are saving money, when you're accumulating, when you're climbing the mountain before retirement, this is a great metric to look at. What's my actual savings rate? So remember, they're saving money in both their Roth IRAs and they're saving money into their TSPs. They have a total of $150,000 of income. How much are they currently saving? So that's a good number to look at when you're for retirement. But when it comes time to take money out, you want to look at, okay, what's the future value that I'll have at retirement in investments? And that's this number here, right? So total savings and return. So currently, age 60, we can see they have a total portfolio of 770. They're putting money in, and we expect some growth over time, all right? And so 61 here. And when they retire, Sarah's going to retire at 63. So it's a projection that at retirement, they'll have about $1,054,000 in retirement, right? So this is what's my bogey, what's my nest egg that I'm going to have at retirement. Because people know what they have now, but it's hard to do the math looking at what I'm going to have when I retire. Well, this answers that question for us. What's my nest egg going to be? The next metric is taxes, right? So when it comes to taxes, taxes is a very, very big expense. And so if we go back to our retirement details here, we can see it breaks it out. So instead of just looking at this total retirement spending, you can see that little blue in there is taxes. And we can see some spikes. Obviously, they're still working for a while, and then it goes down, and then it kind of comes back up over time. And there's some spikes based upon some different things. So if we go to our break it out a little bit more, we can see that their total tax bill of that $5 million that they're going to have spent, about 10% of that is taxes. $569,000 is their total lifetime tax bill. That's what they're going to owe over the next 30 years in taxes. So again, this goes back to why we can reduce taxes. Anything we can do to reduce, save some of that going off to the IRS, can stay in your investments, grow, help support your income, help support your goals, et cetera, et cetera. So that's the number we want to look at when it comes to total tax bill. The last metric in Right Capital that we're going to look at to help us identify and get some clarity on the estate element is that of what's this number right here. So this number right here is the median ending portfolio. So this is the idea at the end of the plan. So again, this is 1,000 plans. So this is the 500th plan. What's the median I'm going to have? It's a very wide spread. I can have anywhere from $8 million to some plans run out of money. But what's the median? The median is $1.8 million. So that's that number right here. So this helps answer the question, if something happens to me, will my spouse be okay? Yes, there's enough money for your spouse. Even if maybe some of your pensions, your Social Security might die with you, your pensions might die with you, your spouse will have good income left. If there's other people financially dependent upon you, they will have some money to take care of. And this goes back to the idea of, hey, I'm actually going to have more money in my estate than I really thought of, and maybe I need to explore some different tactics or strategies to help make sure that the next generation can handle this. And so maybe you want to go revisit again some of your estate planning, insurance planning, life planning type of needs to support that. So hopefully now that helps you understand the key metrics and it comes to what to look at from a dashboard perspective of how is my retirement going, right? They're big picture numbers that help you identify some things what maybe you're not doing so well at or things you're really doing well at and you can speed up or accelerate. So again, this is all designed to help you get a handle on answering the questions, am I on track for retirement? As we conclude today's show, if you're still with me and find this information valuable, helpful, please consider subscribing. Today we talked about the True Wealth Retirement System, the 5 questions that it answers, and the major metrics to look at in assessing of how we're doing. Now, again, ideally, this all should be done in conjunction with an overall comprehensive plan, one that would include your retirement aspirations and goals, income needs, investments, taxes, insurance, estate plan, a whole bunch more. I understand that preparing for retirement can be overwhelming and confusing. If you're looking for some help or you have some questions, please feel free to email me but a good micro action for this week might be to just explore one of those. Explore one of those metrics. Remember, there's a lot of elements to retirement planning. Hopefully these metrics here will give you a good dashboard to concentrate on and assess how the journey's going. Hopefully this helps you on your path to a retirement that is prosperous, enjoyable, and purposeful. Till next time, hope you have a great day. Mike@truewealth.show. Mike@truewealth.show. Thanks again for taking the time to watch this week's episode of the True Wealth Financial Show. I encourage you to like, share, and subscribe so you don't miss any future episodes. Additionally, you can find more information on our website at www.truewealth.show. One final note, though, as we wrap up to today's show. While I hope the information was helpful, valuable, and insightful, it's really for information and educational purposes only. Prior to making any decisions or taking any actions, I'd strongly encourage you to talk to your legal, tax, estate, or financial advisor who's familiar with the unique circumstances of your particular personal situation. Thanks again for watching, and until next time, hope you have a great day.